A hot spotlight on Susan Rice on Capitol Hill today to meet with some of her sharpest Republican critics. They accused the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations of misleading Americans about the deadly attack on the U.S. consulate in Benghazi, Libya, and some have threatened to block her possible nomination as Secretary of State. But if Rice was hoping to placate her critics, the meetings clearly had the opposite effect. Our senior congressional correspondent, Dana Bash, is up on Capitol Hill. She was watching every second of this unfold. Dana, what are our critics saying after their big meeting with Ambassador Rice?
Well, it's interesting. Those three senators who you're talking about who had vowed to block her nomination if she is nominated to be Secretary of State really did soften their rhetoric against her in the days leading up to today's meeting. And the reason, I'm told, is because they wanted to do it as a courtesy, because they knew that they were going to have a face-to-face meeting. Let her answer the questions. But the answer to your question, Wolf, is they came out with even harsher and harder rhetoric against Rice.
The way these grim-faced GOP senators tell it, Susan Rice's attempt to calm their criticism backfired.
We are significantly troubled by many of the answers that we got and some that we didn't get.
I'm more disturbed now than I was before.
The information given to the American people was wrong. In fact, Ambassador Rice said today, absolutely, it was wrong.
Rice requested to meet with her chief Republican critics in order to explain why, 5 days after the September Benghazi attack that killed 4 Americans, she went on Sunday talk shows suggesting it was sparked by a spontaneous protest. Accompanied by acting CIA Director Michael Morrell, Rice explained she was using these unclassified talking points, which were stripped of references to al-Qaeda, still classified by the intelligence community. So Rice used the word extremist.
Extremist elements came to the consulate as this was unfolding.
A source inside the meeting tells CNN Rice admitted to GOP senators she was aware of classified information suggesting al-Qaeda was behind the attack. And yet, GOP senators point out she still said this publicly.
We have decimated al-Qaeda.
CNN is also told Rice tried to clarify to GOP senators that what she meant was al-Qaeda's core leadership had been decimated. But GOP senators argue it's proof Rice was putting pre-election spin before national security.
It was unjustified to give the scenario as presented by Ambassador Rice and President Obama 3 weeks before an election.
Ambassador Rice, what do you say to Republicans who say your comments were politically motivated?
Rice did not answer our question. She did release a statement admitting her talking points, quote, were incorrect in a key respect. There was no protest or demonstration in Benghazi. While we certainly wish we had had perfect information just days after the terrorist attack, as is often the case, the intelligence assessment has evolved. We stress that neither I nor anyone else in the administration intended to mislead the American people at any stage in this process. And the White House had this to say.
The focus on, some might say obsession on, comments made on Sunday shows seems to me and to many to be misplaced.
GOP senators also complained Rice neglected to ask key questions before telling the public what turned out to be wrong information.
That's troubling to me as well, why she wouldn't have asked. I'm the person that doesn't know anything about this. I'm going on every single show.
And Wolf, just moments ago, the Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid released a statement very, very direct and pretty critical of those Republican senators who were critical of Susan Rice, really defending Susan Rice. And he was talking about the Republican senators saying the election is over. It's time to drop these partisan political games and focus on the real challenges facing the nation. He said that these attacks on Susan Rice are unfounded and they don't jibe with reality. And I can tell you that Senator Joe Lieberman, who's the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, came out of a separate meeting with Susan Rice and said that he finds her answers satisfactory. And he said that it were up to him, he would vote for her for Secretary of State if she's nominated, big if. Of course, he doesn't have a vote because he's retiring at the end of the year.
He's retiring. The new Senate will do it. All right, thanks very much,